Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Billy Watson TV. We've got a returning guest. It's a great pleasure and honour again to have Alex Michael, aka Conspiracy Music Guru, back on the show. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm all right, mate. Thanks for having me back on. I can't believe you've had me back on. I thought the first time would have been enough, but yeah, pretty busy, mate. Writing books and stuff. Who'd have thought?
That's right. I just wanted to get you back on so I could have a go at you for saying that my girlfriend's my daughter.
Yeah, my mistake. Yeah, like I said before, you're punching above your weight there, mate. But no, it's nice to see you spend so much time with your daughter. I love it.
That's cool. Thanks for that. So let's get talking about the book then, because that's kind of the reason I used to get you back on the show, because you just released a new book, a children's book, no less.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought for a second I'd be a children's author or whatever. But the idea was put to me by David Weiss, who's a how would you call him? He's one of the biggest mouths in flat Earth. Probably does about 20 or 30 interviews a week, pushing this information. Explaining it. Say again, sorry?
I have interviewed him. He reaches out quite a lot to people, so he contacted me.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly with his app as well. He's doing great work. And I was on a stream with him, and he said to me, have you ever thought about turning your music videos into children's books? Because kids love my music videos, and I never really considered that. I'd always thought that one day my music videos might be an animated children's series one day, but that was just too much work for me to even consider, and I wouldn't even know where to start. And when he mentioned the book, I thought, well, I've never done that before. How on earth would I do that? So we reached out to the community for someone to help me with the PDF formatting and all of that. Shout out to Lao Singh, cheers, brother. And we got it together in like 4 weeks, and so it's basically, well, this is the book here. It's called Don't Believe in Gravity. And it's basically my song in book format. The lyrics are already there. We took screenshots from the videos. They're very sort of animated and very sort of nice and bright and vibrant and colourful. And it's teaching children how to think, not what to think. When I first came across the idea that there was an alternative narrative to gravity, and density and buoyancy were probably the most things that explain, rather than the Newtonian or the Einsteinian gravity, if you could just explain it with density and buoyancy, that kind of blew my mind, really. I know there's a lot more to gravity than just density and buoyancy. There's some electromagnetic dielectric acceleration. I don't know, that's probably for the adults book, but just putting the concept to children that, hey, maybe you should question the mainstream narrative, and question what those teachers teach, and question all those preachers preach, as the song says. So it's an exciting project, and there's going to be 10 books in total. So I'm going to be a very busy boy this year, let's put it that way. So there probably won't be a lot of music coming out of me this year, but you can blame David Weiss for that.
Have you had much feedback from it? How long's it been out?
It's only been out a week, and I've only sold about 130 copies, something like that. So far, the feedback's been outstanding. I've already had 5-star reviews on Amazon, but it's early days yet, and I've had people messaging me privately saying their kids are sort of captivated by it because, for some reason, they like the animated character of Flat Earth Man with the cowboy hat and and the little dog, and they're just captivated by that character. And it's very different from most children's books, because most children's books they use illustrators and drawings, but this is using a real actual live person, albeit with a cartoon filter. Right. So for whatever reason, maybe it's because I'm a big kid and I'm very animated, children seem to sort of resonate with that. So the feedback, although it's early days yet, the feedback's been fantastic, and I can't wait to get this next one out. So who'd have thought making books and being a teacher? But I guess that's what guru means. Conspiracy music guru, it means a guide, the word guru. So I'm sort of guiding people musically through the world of conspiracy and truth. So it's quite a unique thing I'm doing. I don't see many others doing it. And I wish there were more people doing it, conscious music and conscious books for children. But currently, I seem to be the only one doing that. Are you there? You've gone there.
We disappeared shortly there. Yeah. Well, the word teacher, I think, has been a little bit corrupted. I think if I went to school and they were all gurus, I would prefer that. Because to teach you life skills and things like that. Because this teacher now is just obviously given the curriculum. And what I liked what you said, and I talk about a lot, is teaching children how to think rather than what to think. That's the whole trivium has been taken out of the 3-step process of critical thinking. That's been demonstratively been taken out of curriculum to make us more dumbed down. So they'll probably like your book because they're getting to question things. If all the books were like that, children would want to read more, you know, because of the consent.
Oh, absolutely. If only I was encouraged to think critically at a young age, God knows where I would be now, you know, particularly with music. But, you know, I didn't start, quote unquote, waking up till I was about 10 years ago. So I sort of see myself as this 10-year-old boy who's only just started learning. So I'm just this excited child at the moment. I struggle with sleep at the moment because I'm so excited with all the things I'm learning. It's just this constant excitement of how I'm going to express myself the following day in this project and that project. And God knows how excited I would have been as a child if critical thought was encouraged. But yeah, teachers are just regurgitators of information and regurgitating the curriculum, aren't they? They're indoctrination camps.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm quite a big fan of a guy called John Taylor Gatto, who wrote books called The Secret History of American Education. He won New York Teacher of the Year a couple of times. And he used to say to his children, well, if I'm teaching you something that you can't see any value in, let me know. And if I can't justify it, then we'll not teach it. So basically, if children see the value in things, then they're going to want to learn and, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine all of the shit we could have bypassed if we'd have just said, teacher, this doesn't resonate with me. I'm bored. I don't, you know, this is all the crap that I've learned over the, you know, and I don't even remember it, but that's how boring and that's how, you know, yeah. I totally agree.
Design as well, you know, that's the thing. You know, everyone's bitching right now, don't send your children to school for the vaccines or whatever. How about just pulling them out of that system? Because the whole thing is designed not for our benefit, you know. So we need to
like everything else in this realm, nothing is put in front of you for your benefit, like the television screen, the computers, the phones, you know, the system, the medical system, the justice system, the education, everything. Nothing is there for your benefit. This is the beast system, you know, at the end of the day. And we're trying to wade our way through it. It's trying to struggle our way through it. It's pretty tough when your eyes are open to how evil this system really is.
It's kind of double-edged sword, because here we are talking, you know, using Skype and all this kind of stuff, this technology around the world, having instant conversations, people can view it, but we're tied to this thing, and even you do your stuff online, you've got well known from that, so we're using the tools we've got, but I don't really want to stay here forever. I think we need to get to the garden where you've spreading out your wings out the studio a little bit and get back to nature.
Like you say, it's definitely a double-edged sword, but I like to see it as I'm a kind of a Trojan horse in the beast system. A lot of people criticize me for using Amazon. Why are you using Amazon? You know that they're this corporate, you know, and I agree they are. But if every truther stopped using Amazon, because most of the people in the world, like 90% of the people in the world, think Amazon are the best thing since sliced bread. However, the 10% that know that Amazon is a big, even if they all stopped using Amazon, it's not going to hurt Amazon at all. So I like to put my CDs on Amazon, my books on Amazon, because I'm in the belly of the beast that way. That's where all the normies hang out. I want to remain on YouTube, and I get criticism for that. But that's where all the normies hang out. That's where all the normies find my music and my books and my information. And they're the people I need to reach the most. If I go to Rockfin or BitChute and these other echo chambers, then, you know, I'm preaching to the choir. So, you know, that's why I use Amazon. That's why I use YouTube.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're censored in any way?
Yeah, totally. YouTube has censored me. I've had videos taken down off of YouTube, but I'm learning. You know, I had a song out called "I Told You So," and I put one of the lyrics in that was "COVID is a hoax," and they soon pulled that down for medical misinformation. So once I muted that word and re-uploaded it, they accepted the song. So I thought, right, okay, I've got to be a little bit smarter with my lyrics now, so I could, you know, try and bypass the algorithms. And that song, incidentally, was taken down off of Spotify and banned from Spotify as well.
Oh my God.
So now I thought, right, okay, this is a challenge now. If I can get smarter with my lyrics, then I can bypass the algorithms. My last song, Big Pharma, or one of my last songs, Big Pharma, was a good example of that. The chorus is, I'm Big Pharma and I'm here for your health. I mean no harm, I just want to help. The algorithms can't do anything with that because you're saying exactly what they want to hear. But if you're singing in a dirty style, like in a rock kind of, and you're using the right imagery, the song remains. So as long as I'm smart with the lyrics and use sarcasm and comedy, like someone like Awaken with JP, he's got like 500,000 subscribers, uses comedy, sarcasm, saying everything the system wants to hear and the algorithms want to hear, but they don't ban him or censor him because he's smart with it. And that's what I'm trying to do musically. But I've definitely had my fair share of censorship. Yeah.
Like, what's that one you done recently? It's like a blues one. That's kind of attacking the virus head on, is it not? So how's that staying up?
Which one was that?
It's a blues one with a slide guitar. It's just an acoustic guitar. Hold on, I'll get the name of it.
Is it called I know better than that? Is it?
Yeah,
It might be that one.
Yeah. That's it.
I can't remember the lyrics now. You'll have to refresh my mind with the lyrics there. It's
Basically,
ain't gonna take no. Yeah, I think some of the lyrics are ain't gonna take no shot because I know better than that. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I've got so many songs now. I can't remember the lyrics, but
that's when you've not you've not made a video for that one, so you're probably not, got that embedded in your head as much. Do you just write?
Yeah, probably.
You just write songs.
Yeah, exactly. That was just an acoustic version. I mean, the Big Pharma video, I edited in some video footage of vaccine injuries, and the algorithms picked up on that. The algorithms can sense that there's someone in a hospital bed shaking uncontrollably, and the algorithms know that is, not viewing pleasure for kids,
Right.
or for advertisers. So they demonetize that video as well. So even visually, the algorithms can pick up on that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get a little bit smarter with my lyrics, and if I want to remain on YouTube and target the normies, so to speak.
Yeah, which is really what we're trying to do. It gets a bit frustrating just preaching to the choir all the time. But I'm sure with your music, you are getting new people on board. I find it quite good as well when the children get the book. If that's a way to discover you, they can then go on YouTube and see the video of the book. That'd be quite fun for them. And then they can sing along with it. So
exactly, that's the whole reason we put some QR codes in the back. So kids are great with technology. They can scan the QR code and it can take them straight to the Don't Believe in Gravity video.
Yeah.
So they can sing along. So it's almost like a child's karaoke where they're turning the page and they're singing along to the song. Yeah. So not only they're learning critical thought, and they're also learning how to read, and they're learning the song. So what a great tool for not only just for a child to learn to read, but to critically think as well. So I think it's going to do good things.
Yeah. And what's the next one you've got in the series?
The next one is called "Do You Still Believe We Went to the Moon?" So it touches on all the bullet points and all the discrepancies of the so-called Apollo moon missions, and it's just pointing out, hey, what about this? Have you considered this? Have you considered that? What about the telemetry data that was all lost, and what about the Van Allen belts and all of that sort of thing? So that's all displayed in the book in a kind of cartoon-like way. But again, it's for children to sing along to the song, to learn how to read, and to learn how to critically think. And I can't wait for that one to come out now.
To learn what a Van Halen belt is.
yeah, exactly. What's the lyric in that?
You went straight through those Van Allen belts. It wasn't a problem, right? And nothing was felt. But now you say it's a problem and you can't get through. This problem needs to be solved, according to you.
Yeah, so there's some really good... There's some really good some lines in there that should make anybody, it should raise an eyebrow. It really should raise an eyebrow, and that's all I want to do is raise an eyebrow, get the cogs turning, and get people to go and research this stuff for yourself. You can't put the whole moon landing hoax into a book or into a song. You've only got 5 minutes to grab their attention, but I just want to get the cogs turning and get them researching. And when they scan that barcode, it will not only take them to the video of the song, it will also give them the playlist of videos after that, which again bypasses YouTube censors algorithms, and it will display a bunch of videos on the moon landing hoax as well. So hopefully we can guide people through to these playlists as well of moon landing hoax videos.
That's great. It's all about just trying to get one little thing in there to get somebody to say, hold on a minute, things are not quite as they seem. And then it's up to that person.
Exactly. Just something like the Nixon phone call, and the lyric in the song is,
how about that phone call that Nixon made to the moon that's 250,000 miles away? When I can't get a signal on my cell phone line, I guess phones were better in '69.
And when I learned that Nixon made a phone call to the moon 250,000 miles away from a landline, like that should be more than enough to make you go, hold on a second, and that should be enough to make you go, right, I'm going to research this a little bit further. That's the whole point of these books.
Because I can remember reading that years ago, and then I'd kind of forgotten about it. So when you brought up in the song again, I was like, oh, guys, that's right, that's mental. Really getting away with that shit.
Yeah, with no delay as well, right? No delay. But yet now when you talk to astronauts on the ISS, there's an 11-second delay. And then, when the Bare Naked Ladies did a song, like a live link up with the ISS, and they did a song with Chris Hatfield on his guitar, no delay whatsoever, all perfectly in sync. Just like these things have got to make you scratch your head just a little bit, let alone the harnesses and all the other things I put in my song. It's hilarious. When you see it, it's a real puppet show. It's kind of quite funny, really. If it wasn't so sad.
I've been getting into this YouTube channel recently. Don't know if you've heard of it. It's called God Gave Lambs Day. It's all one word. And this guy's got a theory that basically the moon's like a reflection of the Earth a long time ago. So the moon, if you imagine, is like the real ball that we're living on, and we're just a crater within that. And within that,
I've seen that. Yeah, the moon map. There's a lot of information about that in the globe skeptic community. It's fascinating to put your mind there, and yeah, maybe it could be a negative snapshot of the Earth. Or in the outer lands. I do subscribe to the outer lands, and I do believe that's why the Antarctic Treaty exists. We can't go beyond that point. That is the border, the limit of our world, if you like.
That's the escape.
Yeah. Say again?
That's the escape. That's the escape route.
I think that's either the escape. I think that's probably where all the technology is coming, and all the extraterrestrials, right? I mean, extra land means extra terra, extraterrestrials, outer space, right? So these extraterrestrials, these extra terras, are coming from the outer lands, the outer space. So there's an element of truth in what NASA are telling us. So I think as you go further and further away from the north, it gets more technological. And I think the closer you get to the north, it gets more, I don't know, more spiritual, more, I don't know. There's been many a book written about journeys to the north. And I think there's something there. Certainly the maps that, the maps from hundreds of years ago show 4 continents there, and Mount Meru, and the 4 rivers flowing, so maybe creation comes from the north and spills out. I don't know, but it's certainly.
Have you ever heard of a guy called Martin Kenny?
Oh, I love Martin. Yeah. He's his cosmic egg theory, and
so that's a big
all of his stuff. He put. Exactly that, and that's probably why I say it. He's now doing the self-sufficiency thing. He's got a place in Portugal now, and his information was fantastic. He was even doing the etymology on the words like Sweden, for instance. Sweden means southwest of Eden.
All right, there you go.
Right. So the north is in my opinion the Garden of Eden, where all creation stems from. So when you look at Sweden, the southwest of Eden, and Denmark as well, the mark of the den, Eden. Norway is the way of the north, and you start looking at the etymology of these countries, you go, right, there's something there. Let alone the northern lights, this beautiful northern lights going, come, or compass. What do all our compasses point to, and what does compass mean? Compass. Yeah. Right? In Spain, where I live, the word pasa. When you open the door, you'll say to someone, pasa, which means come in, come. So compass is just like, it's right there in our faces. And one day, I really hope that someone travels to the north, if not myself, just to find out. There's a guy doing it at the moment, actually, and I hope he comes back with a full SD card of what's there, because I think there's something very magical there.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like they're almost thinking about Antarctica. People were aware of that, with the planes and that, but they were just kind of like hiding the Norse element of it. So if things go tits up, basically, and because he was talking about we're going in a different age, and that's why every so often the age, the kind of force field, whatever, comes down, and then people can travel into and a new landmass comes up, and everything gets shoved out. And he's kind of saying the things that are happening just now, because they're terraforming outside, because the energy is getting stronger here or whatever. If they're evil, we'll have to go further out with more technology. Right. And the NASA rockets and everything, when they're going up in the 80s, they're going out again. They're doing the supplies so they could terraform that. And when you talk about going to Mars, so Mars is just another crater, And when I think we do live in a ball, and that just blows your mind. What kind of ball is that, when you think of it?
I mean, doesn't Martin Kenny put the idea forth that like so-called planets like Mars and Saturn and Jupiter are the outer suns and moons of the outer realms, and that's kind of mind-blowing to think of that. But I do think it gets more technological as you go out and further out from the north, because it seems strange to me that these ruling elites have a fascination with Antarctica, the evil ones. They always seem to be going there, don't they? Recently, or a couple of years ago, it was Buzz Aldrin that went out there, and royalty are going out there, and what's there. I just think it's more evil the further from the north you go. No disrespect to our Australian friends, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just what do you think of the reset? Have you looked into that much? Like basically 1850, the mud flood in Tartaria and previous.
A little bit. I mean, there's whole channels dedicated to it, but it certainly seems that our past is a lot different to what's taught in the history books. A lot of people think that the further back you go, the more the the dumber we were. But I think it's the opposite. Everything's the opposite in this realm. It's everything like is being inverted in this realm. So I think the further back you go, you have more positive civilizations and more free energy and that sort of thing. And how the reset happened, but it's clear that there was a reset of some kind, mud flood or whatever. There seems to be melted buildings and rocks and mountains that have been melted, and so whatever kind of event there was, it seems to be some kind of electromagnetic plasma discharge that just burnt the fuck out of everything. It's biblical what we're talking about. So very, very bad things happen here. They really do. You know, what it was, I don't know.
We kind of think everything's all right. We're in a safe world. You know, the government's looking after us. Things are going on, but you know, food shortages. All kinds of it could be just around the corner, and maybe these are just cycles that happen to us, you know, and the strong survive and the rest get washed away, because they keep talking about tsunamis and stuff like that, and I think they're dropping hints into us in the news, like they know what's going to happen.
There's a reason why the ruling class have built underground tunnels.
Basically,
you know, they've been building them for God knows how long now, and there's whole underground cities. You know, so what do they know that we don't? So I don't know. I don't really like putting my mind there too much, because then you're in fear, and I think that's exactly where they want you. So I'm just trying to live a happy life, trying to be as self-sufficient as possible, trying to eat from the garden as much as I can, get out in the sun, exercise, you know, and just trying to, rather than what's coming, is there a reset, is Armageddon, you know, this biblical stuff, the mark of the beast, the vaccine, the chip, and all of that. It's all, you know, it's a little bit depressing if you get into it too much. So, and I try not to go there too much, but of course you have to be informed about this stuff, because you've got to understand your enemy.
I think it's fascinating looking at, once you understand Tartarian, like I live in Edinburgh or whatever, you're driving around and you just see all these buildings and you're like, that's fucking amazing, you know, like, and you just like 100 years ago, people, horse and carts built that. You're like, no fucking way, you know. And
yeah, I mean, look at I was in Barcelona a few years ago, and about 3 years ago, and there's a building there called Sagrada de Familia, I can't remember now, the Sagrada de Familia. And it's this huge Gothic-like Tartarian. I don't know, how do you say that? Tartarian or Tartarian? If you say Tartarian, it sounds a bit surprised. This huge Gothic building that it's just like horse and cart, right? They're struggling to renovate it now with modern technology. So, and they're all over the place, some of these buildings. So, yeah, I think the further back you go, the more advanced we were.
Well, you're right. I do a show called Shooting the Shit, and when I have to kind of bring up memes and stuff, and that's the only time I kind of look for any new stuff, just to kind of see, right, what's been happening. I'll get a few clips, chuck them up and talk about it, but I really don't like watching the news or dwelling on, like, I met a guy recently, and he's like, you know, third world war's coming, there's nuclear war, and I'm like, I don't believe in nuclear weapons. He's like, oh no, it's coming, and you just don't hear that bit, you know. It's just like, and then he's going on about other truthers or whatever, and like, well, mate, you can people think they're awake. Just saying that nuclear weapons don't exist is going to be alarm bells to so many people. What are you talking about? What are you talking? People can't put their mind there, but I'm so with you with that. I think that's another fear thing. I don't think nuclear weapons exist at all. Crow 777 did a great stream on that. You'd have to go and search for that. I don't know what episode it was, but yeah, there's so much proof out there for that. Another fear porn. It's just, again, look what they've done with that with the Cold War. You know, they're all hiding under desks. It's all big.
Well, do you remember that video clip where they showed that house, that nuclear weapon, and the house just being utterly destroyed?
Aye.
I don't know if you remember that. It's a classic clip, but the house, when you look at it now with you know, open eyes, you can see that the house, for one, is a model, and secondly, there was this atomic bomb that could take out this entire house and just sweep it, like blow it away, like. Well, but the camera was fine, right? So what kind of camera was that?
Industrial.
Yeah, a joke made out of titanium. It's just a joke. When you go again, it's like the moon landing missions as well. Like when you see, you know, the craft lifting off of the moon, and everyone goes ooh, and the camera pans up and follows it up. You're like, did they leave the cameraman behind then to film that or whatever? You know, like who's holding the camera when Neil Armstrong comes down the steps of the lunar module? Like,
yeah, and the lunar module itself. What the fuck's that?
It's made out of paper mache and tin foil and and curtain rods. It's an absolute joke, but of course everybody, you know, it's too far for a lot of people to go there, and it's really sad, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, again, your book gets out in the right hands. That's the thing, getting to the right people's hands. It's a good idea for people to buy that awake people to buy it for their niece or whatever at Christmas, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, it does make a good gift, certainly. And there's a lot of woke parents out there and a lot of woke grandparents, and they've all said, that they're not only going to buy it for their grandchildren and their children, but they're going to buy it for their other halves, because even though it's designed to trigger critical thought in children, it can work the same for adults as well. Just putting that idea in their head, So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, I lost a job recently because I was basically at the airport and the police asked me about wearing a mask, and I says, "Who are you?" And they wouldn't give me their name and identify themselves. So I ended up fighting with them when I was arguing this out. One of them went and told the woman who I was going to collect his luggage from. The next thing you know, he comes out and I've lost my job, which is a bit annoying. Which I forgot the point of this story now.
Yeah, well, don't matter. Now, there's a lawsuit there, as you well know. I think you're going through it, and that's all completely illegal. What they've done there, well, it's not illegal; it's unlawful, is what it's done. There's a big difference between the two, which you're learning. Yeah,
well, that's to do with. Yeah, that was the job with the airport collecting luggage. That was a different job. Well, what I was going to say is, yeah, all the guys there, they're all believing in this pandemic, and I'm arguing with them. There isn't any. And I'm sending them text messages, and it's just people assume this stuff, and you try and hit them with evidence, no matter where. It's a crazy world. You're lucky you've got that studio there. Basically, you don't have to go and deal with.
Yeah, I have definitely turned into a bit of a recluse over the last few years, because going out there and dealing with the television, watching news believers is really, really tough. The amount of arguments, and I'm done now trying to persuade people with reason and logic and facts, because these things just don't seem to sit well with these people. And I say this quote every stream I go on, because this conversation always comes up, and it was Da Vinci who said there are three classes of people: those that see when they are shown, and those who do not see.
And that's the vast majority.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, there are this class of people that don't see, no matter how much facts, logic, reason you put in front of them, they just can't see it. And I've got plenty of people like that in my own family. So, like you say, I've got this little getaway here, my little cave, where I can sort of, just reach people through my music, because reaching people face to face, people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. But if you put something together creatively in a book or in a music format, you can at least, you can share that with people. And all my family that see it, they can't say, "Oh, he's lost his mind," because I'm hiding behind a character and using comedy and satire, so I can just brush it off. It's just comedy. Take it for what you want. I'm not being seriously trying to shove these ideas down people's throats, because that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So that's why creatively thid things do work with books and music. So thank God I have this studio. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the way to do it creatively. It's a way to get it in their head, kind of, without them looking for it. Even melodies and stuff like that. Whole rock music's all the subliminal programming and stuff that's went in and that over the years. It's just taking a simple melody and burying ideas in people's heads. Even the song "Imagine," that simple. It's all like the Communist Manifesto in there.
Yeah, totally. All of that stuff from the Beatles, all of the mainstream music really there's an agenda behind it. I believe that Tavistock are behind all of these popular songs.
Yeah.
Because lyrical content can get into the subconscious. Even Jimi Hendrix, he said, I can get right into the subconscious of people with my music. So he knew the agendas.
Yeah.
So, and there's books written about it. I think, what is it called? Strange Scenes from Inside the Canyon.
Weird Scenes from Laurel Canyon.
Weird Scenes from Laurel Canyon. Yeah, that's it. That explains all of the CIA operations coming out from that particular area, and all the agendas behind it. This so-called counterculture music movement that was coming out in the 60s. It was nothing of the sort. It was agenda-driven and mind control. And that's and fast forward to the music we have today, where you've got Cardi B talking about a wet ass, right? It says it right there, doesn't it? So I'm trying to do the polar opposite of what the controllers want musically.
Yeah, and again, the 432 hertz thing is very much a part of that, because the 440 hertz, all this rock music that we're listening to all the time, is dissonant. That's affecting our consciousness as well. No matter how much we think we love it or whatever, it's still got that.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I mean, when you've got a teenage, people wonder why teenagers are so grumpy all the time. Well, who listens to music the most? Teenagers. They're the demographic, right? So you've got a teenager that's listening to rock music 8 hours a day through their headset, and you wonder why they're grumpy. It's because they're listening to a dissonant frequency. I see 440 hertz as like the fluoride of the music industry. You don't know it's there. You can drink a glass of water, you can quench your thirst, you can enjoy it, but what's it doing internally? Yeah. And when you listen to when you look at 440 hertz cymatically versus 432 cymatically, it gives you a clue of what's going on sort of biologically. So yeah, there's been such a bastardization of music over the last 70 years.
Yeah. Just listening to your music, your 432 hertz, just that brought out to me just how good that music can be if everyone was recorded in that. You know, it's like a spiritual kind of frequency.
Oh, completely. I mean, I get feedback from my True Solfeggio album. Where is it? I did have it here. Yeah, it's here. This album, quick little cheeky plug. True Solfeggio. This is like an instrumental album, a guitar instrumental album. But it's recorded in 432 hertz. But I've also embedded solfeggio healing frequency, ancient solfeggio healing frequencies, and I had no idea that this would be as powerful as it's turned out to be. But it was my own scientific experiment, if you like. I just made the music, put it out there, a testable, observable, repeatable scientific experiment, people buying it and then gauging the feedback. And the feedback I got, like you say, people were having spiritual experiences and saying, you know, that they'd suffer with pent-up anger all their life, and when they listen to a certain track it just dissipates. And people were even saying that their children are calm, their dogs are calm, nothing when no other music would do. And one guy even said his plants were growing exponentially because he plays on that kind of music. So I'm utterly convinced that there's something to the solfeggio healing frequency, and certainly the 432 hertz. And when you look at why they changed it and who was responsible for changing it from 432 to 430, you see the names Rockefeller and Goebbels and Hitler and all of that kind of thing. You're like, oh, that's all I need to know. I don't need to look at this any further. But there's so much to the 432 hertz. It has a relationship with the golden ratio, which can be found in every aspect of nature. It can, you know, when you start looking at sacred geometry, you know, you find 432 and divisible numbers of 432, and it's just like a mind blow. And you can see why, you know, these guys were funding and changing it and wanted to change it because it's very beneficial. Yeah,
I mean, I think there's actually some official thing happened in 1951 where they says, right, everybody, that's it, we're all moving to this. You know, as you say, the Rockefellers put it into.
Yeah, it was like a big conference, an international conference that set the keynote music standards of 440. And it was like you say, everything, right, we're going to go with this frequency, tune everything to this frequency. And that's all the music we listen to now. Every bit of music you hear on a documentary or any intro music you hear on a YouTube video, everything on the radio, every bit of music that you hear is all tuned to 440 hertz. Not mine. Mine's all made in 432. So you can convert the music, though. That's the good news. You can get a 432 converter. You can even get an application for your iPhone, which will convert all of the music on your phone to 432 hertz. I think it's better to listen to music that was created initially in 432 hertz with the right intent and the right lyrics, but absolutely you can take the music that you have and convert it to 432, which would definitely be a step in the right direction.
So for a musician, when they're playing live, is it because the tuners are tuned to 440, you know, can they tune to 432s when you hear music live?
It depends. Well, it depends, really. I mean, it's you will very, very rarely hear a live band playing in 440 because every instrument, like particularly brass instruments, you can't change. I don't think you can turn into 432. I think they're made specifically to be manufactured in 440 hertz. So guitars, yeah, you can tune guitars to 432 very easily with a digital tuner. With pianos, it's a little bit difficult, a little bit more different. With a MIDI instrument, yeah, you can do it. You'll have to make some adjustments through the software, but you've got to have all the musicians and all the producers and everybody on the same page, which is almost impossible these days. You know, so if you can show me a band that performing live in 432 hertz, I'd be amazed. It just doesn't happen.
That'd be quite interesting if it did.
Yeah, well, there was a friend of mine who's on my Facebook page that he was doing a gig and he was all tuned to 440 hertz, and like no one was responding to the music. It was one of them gigs that I've been through many of them, and he's just turned to his bandmates and said, "Right, let's just tune to 432 hertz and see what happens." And they tuned to 432 hertz, and funny enough, there seemed to be a different resonance in the room, and everybody started enjoying themselves. Incidentally, when I got married 4 or 5 years ago, I made sure that all the music that was played at my wedding was 432 hertz. And I've got to tell you, bro, that was one of the best days of my life. And I'm not just saying that because it was my wedding. Just the energy that was in. I got married at home. There was about 50 people, and the music was playing in 432, and just the happiness and the energy in that place was something else.
That's awesome. Great stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, you must be using that music to grow your plants, because you want to tell us about this garden you've got going.
Yeah, I mean, since the when the COVID narrative hit like a couple of years ago, we knew what was coming, because when you know the agendas, you can predict the future.
When the toilet,
So
we had from the shelves, I was like, you know, they've got the power to fucking wipe those shelves if they want, you know.
Yeah, exactly, and that was our mindset. We're like, oh no, you're not going to be able to get into a supermarket without a vaccine pass. That was kind of our thought at the time. So we thought, right, okay, let's start growing. And I'm a musician; I don't know anything about growing stuff and germinating seeds and all of that sort of stuff, companion planting and compost. I knew nothing about that. So I'm still a beginner, really. But it's like with anything, like with the book, once you jump into it, you start learning it. And all of a sudden, like, holy crap, in a month, I've got a book out. And it's the same with the garden. Like, once you just start watching a bunch of videos on YouTube, and that is one thing YouTube is good for. It's absolutely useless for truth. But when you want to learn about gardening and self-sufficiency, it's brilliant. So we started our little self-sufficiency journey a couple of years ago, and now we've got a garden full of food, you know. So like 50 to 80% of our food is coming from the garden. I just had a wonderful soup that my wife made that was all from the garden. And so, yeah, I think it's a necessary step to sort of take your power back. You know, because we rarely go to the supermarket these days. They're poison markets as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if a supermarket has a health section, then what's the rest of it? It's all poison, you know. So yeah, we're 2 years into our self-sufficiency. We're doing rain catchment, and we've just got a bunch of essentials there. You know, if the shit hits the fan, I don't like to think that way. It's more really from a health perspective, and just the joy of walking around the garden and seeing food and being able to forage. And we're starting to build a little food forest now as well. So slowly, we're going to be just having this garden, this abundance of food, rather than a lawn and some roses, you know, and some palm trees. And that stuff is just, what's the point of that? What a waste of space.
Or a big trampoline.
Yeah, a trampoline, exactly, yeah.
But but it looks quite impressive. So you said you tried to do the garden just in the soil that was there, but it wasn't good soil, which is a big problem in the world as well, the soil conditions. So you've got these things you use to catch the rain in, and you've basically jigsawed them in half.
Exactly.
Get compost, and then so they're all over your garden. You've got a big garden, luckily enough.
Yeah, luckily enough. Yeah. I mean, we've got about a quarter of an acre here where we haven't got enough room to do livestock or chickens or anything like that. But we tried growing the first year, and we was planting straight in the ground, and then was like, this is shit. There's just rocks everywhere. The soil is shit. After a bit of research, we started growing in containers. And if you look at what a tote is, a TOTE, it's a 1,000-litre container. You cut it in half, and then you have 2 totes, and you can buy them secondhand for about $50, 60 euros, something like that. And then you put some logs and twigs in the bottom, put some soil in and some compost, and then some mulch on the top. And since we've been doing that the mulch on the top feeds the soil from the top, and the twigs and the leaves that break down in the bottom of the container, they feed the soil from the bottom. So you just end up with all this micro life and worms and everything, which is exactly what you want. And as beginners, like all of my totes, they're just thriving. We've got these huge cauliflowers and huge lettuces, and it's just like, when we're beginners, so it's quite amazing, really. It's just a very, very simple technique of just putting logs and things in the bottom, because they just break down into compost, and it feeds the soil with all the nutrients it needs. So it's really, really simple. It's minimal maintenance as well. It's setting it up initially, putting all the soil in and everything. That's quite hard work, but when you're doing that, you don't need a gym. It's all good exercise, and you're out, you got your fingers in the dirt, you're earthing, very, very healthy stuff. So yeah, I'm really pleased with what we've done over the last couple of years, because now when I look in the garden, like I say, I don't see palm trees, I see food. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, epic. And I believe that the food will be a lot more tasty as well. Can you tell the difference between that and the supermarket?
100%. If you buy a supermarket tomato and you grow a tomato, the difference is a chasm apart. So, and people don't even realize they can take a tomato, cut it in half, and with all those seeds you find in the tomato, you can bury them, or you can germinate them, and you get more tomato plants. People don't realize it when you've got a potato, you cut it in half, put it in the ground, and you get more potatoes. It's so simple, but most people don't even realize that. It's just such simple stuff. But it's off.
Do you not need like a good one to begin with? Like, do you source your seeds in that well, or can you grow from their stuff eventually when you grow it yourself, because of the nutrients and stuff? It grows good.
I mean, if you're going to buy seeds, buy organic seeds, obviously. You know, you want to start them as good. You don't want to really start germinating seeds from the supermarket if you can help it. Yeah, but I suppose if you start with a good breed, then you're gonna, you're gonna get better breeds. It's genetics, I suppose.
Aye. Aye, good stuff. If folk want to see a bit more of that, they can go to your YouTube page. It's on there. When the video of a tour of your garden. Quite impressed.
Yeah, it's called a tour. I think it's called a garden tour. It's on Conspiracy Music Guru. If you go into YouTube, type Conspiracy Music Guru, those 3 words, you'll find all my music, stuff about my garden, links to my music, links to my website, and all that stuff. If you want to find out a little bit more about me.
Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about your website. That's you've had that revamped, have you, or is that just completely new?
Well, I mean, a few months ago, things were getting crazy. Like, I had so many people contacting me, and it was becoming a bit of a pain in the ass. So it was just like, because everybody, when they contact me, they always want something. They want a jingle, or they want me to do a song about this or a song about that. And I was in quite a bad place at the time. And I thought, you know what, I'm taking it all down. I deleted my Instagram, I deleted my Telegram, I deleted my Facebook Messenger, and I deleted my website. And I just went, silence. This is glorious. But then as I started doing the book and that, I thought, well, I've got to put a website on there. I need to get my website back and running. And if people contact me, it's no harm just to ignore them, if the message doesn't resonate with me. So I contacted someone in the community. Shout out to Leon McIntyre, who did my website, bless him. He's done a fantastic job. And the website's back up and running now, conspiracymusicguru.com. All my videos are on there. The music's on there. There's a bit of merch on there as well, and a bit of information about me. But yeah, it's a nice, clean website, really simple. Going to be building on that over the next few months as the books start to come out. But yeah, I found it necessary to have a website in the end. But it was nice for that month when I just ignored everyone. It was really nice.
Yeah, again, it's that double-edged sword again where you're trying to do things, but people don't realise it's just a simple question. Just for you to deal with one of them is taking your attention elsewhere and, spending energy. And then if you get that coming in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, how much? There has to be a line somewhere, And
that was the problem. I was being an administrator for what I've created here. This beast, this conspiracy music guru empire. Like it was just like all of these people contacted me, and all of a sudden I found myself dealing with emails and websites and like. I don't want to do this. I should be in the studio. That's what I'm good at. I shouldn't be, So I either need an assistant, which my wife is doing some of it, but it is a double-edged sword. It does take your time away, but the bigger this thing grows, I've got to expect more of it. But I belong in the studio, not responding to emails.
Well, I'm the same myself. I've spent years. I've done lots of work, and then I tried to get myself promoted, building websites, learning WordPress, getting video software, buying this software. And I've actually now want to release my books that I wrote years ago and start being known for that and starting to write more, because that's really what I want to do. I don't want to f*** around with all the other stuff. But again, it's a necessary evil if it's just yourself and you don't have the funding for it. If you can afford an assistant, it'd be quite handy, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's not a lot of finances in this truth world. We get censored, and there's no money in it. Some guy said, "Oh, you're in this for the money." I said, "You joking?" Talk about the music. The music that I'm singing is so niche. So to afford an assistant is laughable, really, at the moment. So, but yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's no money in truth, is there?
Definitely not. Well, some people find good ways to monetize themselves through membership sites or various other Patreon and stuff like that. Have you ever tried to use that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Patreon. I don't advertise it. It happens to be in my video links. If anybody does want to, if anybody sees the value in my work and does want to become a patron, and I have I don't know, maybe 15 Patreons at the moment, all doing like a $5 a month. So it's not a massive amount of money coming, but it helps. I'm very blessed to have very low outgoings. I don't have massive bills. Like I say, I'm doing the food thing, and I don't have a mortgage. I'm very blessed to not have a mortgage, so I don't need a massive amount of money to survive. But I am doing this full time now, so it's just one of them things. You just got to keep building it and build, like that saying, build it and they will come. So I'm just building it and building it and building it and building it. And if I was to survive off of my conspiracy music alone, I don't think I would survive. It doesn't make that amount of money. But I envisage in 5 years' time, maybe if I get a few more patrons, sell a few more books, music, that kind of thing. You know, we are dealing with an awakening world, you know, so these kind of fringe topics that we thought initially were fringe topics are becoming more and more mainstream. So I can only see things getting better from a financial standpoint. But the problem is when I make some money, I always end up spending it on a new guitar. That's the problem.
A few in the background there.
There is.
I was going to mention something there, but then I just thought of that reggae music song that you done recently. I think you're a total genius how you can take different styles of music, like the Bob Dylan cover you done. That fucking nailed him. The blues one was great, and then this reggae one. That's like high level reggae. Where'd you pull that one out?
Well, friend of mine by the name of Mike Labrash, who has a channel on YouTube called THC Truth or Hour of Comedy. He approaches the truth from a very light-hearted perspective. I think you'll like it, actually, because it's not all doom and gloom. It's very, very light-hearted and often funny. And it's kind of a cannabis-themed show. And I mentioned to him one day, why don't you have, a bunch of, why don't you create a playlist of conscious reggae music? It would be a good addition to your channel. So he started researching all this conscious reggae music, of which there is quite a lot, actually. I quite like reggae for that. There's a lot of conscious reggae music out there.
Yep.
And I said, if you find any song that's really good, with good conscious lyrics, send it over to me. And because I really want to cover a reggae song. And the song you're talking about was a cover song. And he sent it over to me. And the lyrics just really, really resonated with me. And I knew I had a reggae voice in me. So he sent it over to me, and I recreated the track from scratch and added my own little spin on it and put a guitar solo in it, which isn't in the original. Just as an homage to him, really, because he's been such a great supporter of my work, and he does great work. So it was just interesting to go there creatively, and I want to do so many different other genres as well. I want to do something on the piano, maybe even something hip hop, all tongue in cheek. I mean, I don't see myself as a reggae artist or a rap artist or a country music artist or a rock artist. I'm just a creative bloke who does some funny voices, and if I can do a hip hop voice and do it tongue in cheek like the reggae one, I'm not a Rastafari or anything like that, but I can probably pull off a bit of a reggae voice. So I don't want to be pigeonholed as this country artist or a rock artist or a blues artist. I want to do it all, but as long as there's conscious lyrics in it. But that was an interesting one, doing a bit of reggae, and I'd like to do a bit more.
Is that kind of why you've kind of changed from Flat Earth Man to Conspiracy Music Guru? Because that's not the same thing, is it?
Well, I mean, the Flat Earth Man was just a character. The channel's always been Conspiracy Music Guru, and I didn't really create the character Flat Earth Man. I created a character that kind of was like this and blah 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 to hide behind, to put out that information.
Yeah.
It was much more comfortable to hide behind a character. As I said before, my family can just see it, or whomever can see it, and just it's just comedy.
Yeah.
But of course, we all know the lyrics are a lot more conscious than they realise. So the channel has always been Conspiracy Music Guru, but when I put out my first song, and the song was called Flat Earth Man by Conspiracy Music Guru.
Hey, okay.
But I was listening to Dave Weiss on the Flat Earth podcast, and he said, have you heard that song by the Flat Earth Man?
Aye.
So he got it wrong. He's like, he mentioned the title as the artist, a bit like sort of Elton John, Rocket Man. People refer to Elton John as the Rocket Man because he's got a song called Rocket Man. So exactly the same thing. He was like, have you heard that song by the Flat Earth Man? And I thought, Dave, dude, you got it wrong. It's the Conspiracy Music Guru. But when he said by the Flat Earth Man, I thought, that's a great name for the character. I think I'll steal that. So the next song I did, I called it Flat Earth Man, and it became an album in the end. So, yeah, so he's responsible for that.
All right. So, but you did other ones, like, you're obviously not Flat Earth Man. But what I like is, as well, though, it's good to be able to do the different genres, because if Flat Earth Man is tied to the country style, you can do the other ones not as Flat Earth Man, and then that's good about Conspiracy Music Guru, because I love the way you just drip into different genres and don't stick to the one thing.
Yeah, thank you. I want to do more of that. I want to, like I say, I want to experiment with different genres. I really want to do a hip hop or rap song, and of course, I don't see myself as a rap artist at all in one shape or form. So I will do it jokingly, with tongue in cheek, but it will be funny. It will be humorous. I want to get back to that Flat Earth Man character. Maybe I might bring him back and do something, because I've noticed with my channel that the comedy stuff travels further, because when you make people laugh, they want to share it with their friends because they want to make them laugh. Yeah. If you're doing something serious, like I did a chemtrail song called Look Up, and I was really, really serious, and I looked straight down the camera lens, and I was trying to be all sort of smoky and serious and emotional. And when I look back at it now, I just think, you utter tosser, what are you doing? That's not you. I've always been a bit of a joker, so I think doing the jokey stuff, I think that's going to travel further. So I think there's going to be more comedic stuff. I'm just experimenting. I just want to do as much as I can. But I've certainly noticed from my channel that the comedic stuff will travel further.
Well, that's the point, though. When you're experimenting, you're just following in your intuition. You get an idea, and you go, "That could be interesting," and you're working it, and it turns into a thing. Then that's you're releasing that. So you're not really pre-planning it. So I don't think you should shut off those ideas because they're not going to be funny. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that song, "Look Up," I think it's a great song. Did you do that as your said featuring Alex Michael? So you came in seriously. You know, you brought yourself into that one for the first time. Your own name.
Well, there was two. I think the one you're referring to is Flat Earth Man featuring Alex Michael. So it was kind of this guy. Well, it was the duet that I did was
Flat Earth Man doing this kind of thing and talking about the flat Earth and blah blah blah.
And then I come in as an additional character or myself singing the chorus. So it was like trying to blend the two artists really. And the Look Up one was me singing seriously in the studio, but I mixed in a chemtrail whistleblower by the name of Megan Kelly or Kelly Megan. I can never remember which way around that is. She was a chemtrail whistleblower. So I edited in some of that on the live version, just to give people some facts and some bullet points about what's going on about the poisoning of our sky. So that was quite a serious song, but you know, they work to a certain extent, and it's a good song. It's a very emotional song. It tells a nice story, but I've noticed the ones that travel further, and that's the whole goal here, is to reach as many people as possible with this information. The ones that travel further is me when I start acting a bit of a clown, you know, starting doing funny stuff. And I prefer to watch those videos back because they make me laugh. And that's the best part about making my music videos. They might take me a month or 2 or 3 months, some of them, but when I watch them back, I'm like, that's what I should be doing, you know.
I was doing a gig last night, and it was a kind of create for truth, and I was going to start doing this comedy skit, but it was based on serious stuff. And I started doing it, so I said, I can't be arsed with this. Sometimes it's best just to forget about it and just have a laugh. So I just started talking about other things because that just
you started the world's biggest poo.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I've done.
There you go.
And then I took it to Amsterdam after that. So
yeah, I mean, if you're doing that's the thing. If you're doing these sort of gigs in these pubs and clubs, you've got to gauge your audience.
Well, this all was
really
for that, but just there wasn't very many people there, so I just says I can't be arsed bringing everyone down, and just there's more just a thing of trying to get an audience on side, so you have to think on your feet sometimes. So
yeah, you're probably better off doing just the normal sort of comedy in pubs and clubs and that sort of thing, because the chances of you having a conscious audience, I don't know. I mean, what have you experienced in your work?
No, basically you get barred for that shit. And that's what I tried to originally. I was trying to be like Bill Hicks and everything, and it was hard to sell. That's why I started telling funny stories and that, because I realised, you know, and I interviewed Craig Campbell a few times. I don't know if you know him, he's quite awake, but he doesn't do any of that stuff on stage. He just keeps it funny. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
I don't think you can. I think you've learned from that. I think you're just doing the that sort of, you know, mainstream stuff, to call it that. And then, you know, if you're going to do some conscious comedy stuff, do that solely online. Yeah. Because I saw your post about, you know, where the comedy club was asking people to apply for and they took one look at your website and said, no, I don't think you're quite right for this, you know. And that's like, that's what you're up against, man.
That's an open mic. It was open to anybody. Anyone can perform. And
it's not open, though. That's not fucking open, is it, at all?
That's what's called open comedy. And basically, I had to look at my website and prejudge me. And because they don't give me the credit of turning up and have a look at the audience and deciding what's right for them, you know? It's like, obviously, I don't go shouting about there's no virus to an audience that's not ready for it. Unless I'm feeling a particularly... You know.
Yeah, you've got no chance really if you're doing that. I mean, the only chance you're going to get away with stuff like that or have it well received is if you're doing comedy stand-up at a conscious conference or of some kind. You know, and I did a conference in Denver in 2017, 18, and I was singing all Flat Earth songs, but to 600 flat earthers. So I knew that it was going to go down really well. And sure enough, what a night. Everybody was on their feet, and I had a standing ovation and everything. If you do that in a regular setting in a bar in Scotland, no chance. No chance.
I was just actually watching your video, and then came on after it, like an ABC report of a Flat Earth conference. And we're getting all these people. We're getting all these people talking quite a lot of sense, but the way ABC was framing it, it's like these guys are lunatics, you know. So
Yeah, that's a total hit piece. If you Google flat Earth, or if you put your flat Earth into YouTube, all you're going to get is globe propaganda, and they've made sure of that. I mean, there was even an open meeting at like a public meeting at a council hall or whatever, and they had the CEO of YouTube, because flat Earth was going through the roof, sort of 2016, 2017. It was getting more searches than the president, and so they had to do something about it. So they got the CEO of YouTube in and said, "What are you going to do about this?" And she said, "Well, we're going to work on demoting it and exchanging it with more authoritative content. So that's why when you type in flat Earth into YouTube now, you get nothing but those sort of videos you're talking about, the globe propaganda shit, just making it look like this idiot fringe bunch of hit pieces."
It's so fucking annoying, isn't it, when you can see the truth, like, and it's just right there in front of you, and you can just see how they're manipulating you, or the public at large, and they're just not to be trusted slime ball snakes that you fucking want to strangle, and they're just like that New Zealand Prime Minister, that woman. When I hear her talk, it's just like, it's,
well, I mean, you say woman.
Exactly, thing. Thing from the Black Lagoon.
Just saying, there's a lot of, we are living in an inverted kingdom.
Massively. Yeah, I think we don't realise the depth of that. That's going on big time. And I think this whole Johnny Depp thing, is all part of the women becoming superior to men. I think that's the agenda that's going on here. It's going to be...
Isn't it funny that we get sort of 24-hour coverage of the Johnny Depp trial, but we don't get any coverage of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial? We just get sketches. Right? It's a distraction. It's another distraction. Right? To be at this stage of the game, I'm even skeptical whether there even is a war in Ukraine at the moment. I think it's a wag the dog psyop to some extent.
Yeah, well, a lot of the footage is, from these things is always like, they sourced it from here, they sourced it from there. Like in the show, all these bombs went off. It was flown from planes, but you don't see the planes dropping them. You just see like the fire. So it's all framed and.
The cameraman is always, again, it's like that Apollo cameraman. The cameraman is always so well placed right against the missile launcher, and the guy's launching a missile, and then he looks at the camera. It's just like, this is a fucking movie, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think it's all theatre. We're controlled by the narrative. The narrative is everything. So it doesn't matter what the truth is. They're just playing the script out, and here we go with a great reset, unless everyone wakes up pretty rapid. I don't know. It's what the solution is.
I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We are seeing a hell of an awakening, within the truth. I don't know whether we're going to reach that critical mass and people start questioning things a little bit more. I mean, COVID definitely woke a lot of people up, I know. So there's a lot more people questioning the narrative now. And if you look at CNN's figures, and that nobody's, they've dropped completely. So the mainstream media is suffering as a result of this. I think people are starting to figure it out now, whether we're going to see, a big awakening and critical mass in my lifetime. I hope we do.
So that's been the show. It's great chatting to you, Alex. Let's talk about things you want to promote. You've got your book. Where can people find your book, your website, and all the usual stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if your listeners can remember 3 words, that is Conspiracy Music Guru. If you type that into YouTube, you'll find my channel. Go into any of my videos and you'll see all the links there to my website where you can purchase the book, or if you want to go on Amazon and just get the book straight away, Flat Earth Man book, type that in, or Conspiracy Music Guru into Amazon. Just remember those 3 words, Conspiracy Music Guru, and you'll find my music, the solfeggio stuff, the healing music stuff, the Flat Earth Man. It's all conscious music and conscious writings, really. So, you'll find me. If you can't find me, you're not very good at the internet.
That's right. And on the website, you've got some cool merch as well. I quite like some of your designs and that. Do you do them yourself as well?
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, I mean, I used some templates for a couple of them. I took old space propaganda posters and I remodeled them to put more conscious stuff out there. But yeah, there's a bunch of good conscious designs on there, because people are like walking billboards when they have things like I do not comply and space hoax and that kind of thing. And conspiracymusicguru.com. You'll find the merch shop on there as well. Cheers.
That's cool. That's good for people to support you and get a little bit back for themselves to wear them as well,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If you've, you can help me out by supporting the channel, and you can get something in return as well, which is always nice.
Cool. Great stuff, man. It's been a pleasure having you on again. We'll hook up again sometime, and take care. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next one. Cheers and out. Bye-bye.
Likewise. Cheers, mate.